We're starting this Independence Day seasonally warm across Central Oregon under tons of sunshine. There's no precipitation in sight, and we are staying very dry across the high desert all the way through this weekend. Hey everyone, good evening. I'm Darrell Winninger, Chief Meteorologist at Central Oregon Daily News, and we're about to do a deep dive into your most reliable forecast. We're going to look at some of the changes that have already happened, what comes next, and how this whole weekend is going to shape up. Also, when our next chance of rain is, and cooling trend that sets up later next week. We're going to have all those details and everything else you need and want to know here through the next several minutes. So buckle up. It's going to be fun. Let's get started. Here's what it looks like across the high desert this evening. We have tons of sunshine. There are some light clouds, and there's just no precipitation inside. Look at this. Satellite radar is one of two things. It either looks great, because if you wanted the sunshine and the warming trend, you got it, or it looks bleak because our farmers need more rain. There's just nothing anywhere near us. In fact, we have to back the camera out pretty far to see a glimpse of our closest showers, and it's a coin toss because we do have some light showers just along the southern state line of Idaho, but further to the north, closer to Vancouver Island, there are a few showers at the tail end of a weak system, neither of which are coming our way. And when we look at the bigger picture, what we're actually expecting through the next couple of days is more of the same because of a broad ridge of high pressure. So this high is keeping it clear. And I have one more satellite view for you. I was just showing you a blend of infrared and visible satellite imagery. It doesn't show much, but when it comes to just infrared imagery, I put an enhancement on it to really pull out those taller clouds. So over Montana and the Dakotas, where we have that thunderstorm activity way off to our east on the other side of the Rockies, you can see those brighter cloud tops, those reds, those oranges, and that just shows us where we have the taller clouds, and it's how infrared satellite imagery works. But over the high desert, there's nothing. Our closest cold front is the one that has that system that's moving over Vancouver Island, and this whole system is fizzling out. So when we look at the bigger picture with this, we actually see that broad ridge of high pressure out over the Pacific Ocean. That high is what's expanding right over the Pacific Northwest, and it's actually amplifying a little bit, pushing to the north, and that's going to make all of that system activity go right around us and into BC, Canada. So we have a sunny and hot holiday weekend expected, and it's because of this high pressure really driving our weather pattern. We're talking 80s, some 90s, no precipitation in sight, and that's all the way through our Independence Day weekend. So when we look at the weekend planner, I love this graphic. I don't get to use it that often. I think Independence Day and Memorial Day, but it's an awesome graphic. Okay, so this weekend we have mid to upper 80s and some 90s. By Monday, we have 90s with some 80s. Also notice on Monday, there's a little cloud with some showers, and they're off and on. And that's because we have a low chance of some rain with the beginning of next week, and that's going to trigger the next dip in temperatures. Also, if you're headed out to any of the fireworks displays that are happening tomorrow, you might want to bring a light jacket. We're going to talk about that temperature trend coming up here in the next several minutes as well. But let's look at one more satellite imagery, and this one is what we refer to as water vapor imagery, and it really helps show where there's water vapor in the atmosphere, where there's dry air, and that yellow air mass that you see, that huge streak of yellow right through the Pacific Northwest through Idaho and to right over Calgary, that is a slot of dry air, and that's what's over the high desert right now. Under this ridge of high pressure, we just have very dry conditions. And even when we look at our forecast model, the high resolution one does not show much. What it does show is that we have some in and out light clouds through this holiday weekend, but there's nothing in the way of precipitation until we get to Sunday. Let's look at it. So through the overnight hours, where we have a few clouds, that clears out. By tomorrow, we keep that sunshine, add a little to the temperature, and afternoon winds become breezy across the high desert. And then by Sunday, we start off clear, calm, and slightly cooler, and then it is going to bring another heating trend to the high desert with this sunshine, and we are looking at the potential of some PM convection. So I'm going to freeze frame at 3 p.m. and we're actually going to move this camera down just a little bit and show you South Central Oregon, because that's where the activity is expected through the rest of Sunday. We're talking the potential for some convection, the chance of a few thunderstorms, and by 3 p.m. a couple of them already developing over Lake County just to the north and around Lakeview. And then fast forward through the rest of the afternoon and a few thunderstorms are expected. Let's pause that and let's look at that a little bit closer. So we had the freeze frame that was at Sunday at 7 a.m., and then fast forwarded to Sunday at 3 p.m. Let me reset this camera for you where we had it before. There we go. And when we go ahead and advance it, we know nothing's coming into Central Oregon, so that's why it's a little cut off. But this is for our friends in South Central Oregon, from Christmas Valley to Gilchrist Crescent and all of Klamath and Lake counties. There is a chance of some thunderstorm development during the afternoon, getting into the evening. This specific forecast model keeps it mostly over Lake County, and by the evening, it builds a little bit closer to the Cascades upslope, and that's where we have some thunderstorms for Klamath County, but really it's going to be very hit and miss where any precipitation falls, and any showers that develop, we're going to be tracking for the potential of thunderstorm activity. And as of right now, there's nothing in the way of any risk of severe weather or anything like that, and we can check on that real quick. So for today, no risk of severe weather. By tomorrow, no risk of severe weather. And then by Sunday, there's a chance of some thunderstorms. This potential of thunderstorms is mostly for eastern Oregon and south central Oregon. A little sliver of it is right over central Oregon. I'm just not buying it. I don't think we're going to see any stray thunderstorms until we get to Monday. And so when we go ahead and just look forward through the next couple of days, we have tons of sunshine and a whole lot of warming continuing. So for the last 24 hours, temperatures topped out in the 80s with a few 90s. Actual temperatures this afternoon are running between 5 and 12 degrees warmer than it was 24 hours ago. It looks like we're missing a couple here, but for the most part, we have 80s and a few 90s. Now, when it comes to humidity, we're sitting in the 20s and teens. That is very dry. By tomorrow, it's going to be critically dry because relative humidity is actually relative, and it all has to do with what the temperature is. And the hotter temperatures are capable of holding more moisture, but if you don't add any more moisture to that, the percentage of the capacity is a lot lower. So when we're talking single digits and teens of percentage of moistures, it just means it's extremely dry, and that hotter air isn't helping, and the afternoon breezes aren't going to be helping. So there is a red flag warning from noon until 10 p.m. Saturday for north central and parts of northeastern Oregon because of the critically dry conditions, the hotter temperatures both acting to dry out those surface fuels in concert with the tons of sunshine that were expected. And then you add in the dry conditions and breezy afternoon winds, and any fires that start are likely to spread rapidly. So because of the super dry conditions and those breezes during the afternoon, that's why we have this red flag warning. And it's not for all of Central Oregon, just a sliver of Jefferson County, but I do think we have elevated fire danger across all of the high desert. Now for tonight, we're falling back into the 40s. By tomorrow, we heat right back up into the mid to upper 80s with some low 90s. And then going forward past that, we are expecting not only hotter days, but also very high UV intensity. And that's because of this pattern that we're stuck in under tons of sunshine with few clouds. That UV intensity is going to be between 10 and almost 11. Not quite up at 11, not quite extreme. But by Monday, we catch more cloud cover. Some showers are possible. It brings it back down to high, and then we crank it back up to very high by Tuesday. So between now and then, just through this Independence Day weekend, we have tons of sunshine. It's going to be hotter and a little bit breezy. Highs in the mid to upper 80s and then into the low 90s. And more PM clouds are expected Sunday. It's going to be hotter and very dry. Notice we haven't had a chance of rain yet. So let's look at a different forecast model. This one really focuses on temperature, surface temperatures derived by the forecast model. And through Independence Day, we're looking at highs in the 80s with a few 90s. Fast forward, we keep that same frame by Sunday, but notice a few more clouds over south central Oregon. We have that chance of some thunderstorm activity. And then by Monday, it gets hotter. Some showers are possible over central Oregon with more cloud cover. That sunshine moves out of the area because clouds roll in. So when it comes to future precipitation between now and Monday at 11 p.m., some showers to central Oregon, some thunderstorms for other parts of the high desert, and roller coaster temperatures are expected, but really, we're peaking with this heating trend by Monday and Tuesday. Then we come back down, and it's later in the 7-day planner that temperatures start to come back up. So by Wednesday, by hump day of next week, we're talking average for this time of the year, similar to what we've had today. So this is the forecast model we typically use on air every night. And this one helps paint a picture of exactly what you can expect. The best chance of rain we have is Monday. It's just not a very good chance of rain. And we do have that system that's out over the North Pacific coming up closer to Vancouver Island. Island and the Puget Sound, that's fizzling out. So through tonight, not much in the way of cloud cover. Saturday, tons of sunshine just in time for Independence Day. We keep that sunshine early Sunday. By Sunday p.m., we get clouds to our south. Some thunderstorms develop. And then by Monday, that pocket of convection works a little further north. We're not looking at much in the way of thunderstorm activity as of right now, but that could be changing. I'm still keeping the chance of some thunderstorms by Monday afternoon. And then by Tuesday, we're back to more sunshine with just some PM clouds. So between now and Monday at 11 p.m., scattered showers, possible. Some thunderstorms, maybe. But most of Central Oregon is staying very dry, and I actually think it's going to be more like some scattered sprinkles across the high desert with the low chance of thunderstorms. But between now and Thursday at 5 p.m., one of the not as high of resolution forecast models shows a little bit more rain across the high desert. Now, when it comes to gusts, they're not too impressive right now. Some of those gusts as high as 20 miles per hour. Actual wind speeds between 5 and 15 miles per hour. So we have a light breeze. Check. Little gusty at times. Check. Really a little breezy at times. Check. And then it's a very dry with no rain in sight. Now, winds this afternoon and evening, 5 to 15 miles per hour. We're really not leaving that comfort zone through Saturday or through Sunday. But also notice it is going to be pretty dry. And during the afternoon and evening hours, winds could be gusting to 20 to 25 miles per hour. So for tonight, 50s and 40s across the high desert. By Saturday, we're looking at mid to upper 80s, some low 90s. We're bringing the heat, and that heat continues right into the beginning of next week. After a chance of some showers, temperatures start to come back down Wednesday. So notice on Tuesday, it's still unseasonably hot, still a little breezy, either side of 90 degrees. And also check out those lows, 50s and 40s across Central Oregon. So just to recap for you, your weather headlines for this Friday, July the 3rd. Summer heat continues. Low humidity is expected with stronger afternoon breezes. We are talking a rain-free forecast and critically dry conditions. There is very little in the way of cloud cover, and there is no rain in sight across the entire state. But as we go forward through the next several days, there's that chance of some showers. By the time we get to Monday, it's going to be hotter and dry. Until we get to the beginning of the next week, that's when we have that chance of showers. The potential for a few thunderstorms to our south Sunday and over Central Oregon on Monday, and winds are going to be breezy each afternoon. That's the latest in weather. And one more thing for you, I do want to remind everybody to look before you leave the car, because with temperatures ranging between the 80s and the 90s, it only takes 10 minutes for the temperature inside the car to get to or above triple digits. And after 30 minutes, we're talking 115 to 125 degrees inside that vehicle with the windows rolled up and sealed. So if you have any fur babies, if you have any real babies, any human babies, look before you leave. Check the back seat and the whole car before you get out. That's the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News with the latest headlines and your most reliable forecasts. See you then.